The tattooed cross. Liam Parker watched the first black lines of the cover-up spread over the small cross on his wrist, and for one terrible second, he felt as if he were erasing his last prayer. The tattoo machine buzzed against his skin like an angry insect, steady and precise, while rain slid down the front windows of Saint and Needle Tattoo on Hawthorne Boulevard in Portland, Oregon. Outside, cyclists moved through the gray afternoon in waterproof jackets. Coffee steam curled from paper cups under striped awnings, and a bus hissed to a stop beside a puddle full of red brake lights. Inside the shop, the air smelled of green soap, ink, nitrile gloves, old wood, and the burnt metal warmth of machines that had spent the day turning pain into pictures. Liam had spent 10 years drawing on other people's bodies, but now he sat in his own chair, his left arm stretched across the padded rest, watching a raven's wing swallow the little cross his mother had once kissed. Still good? Mara asked. She worked slowly, because she knew him. She had been tattooing for almost 20 years, had taught him how to pull a line without chewing the skin, how to tell the difference between nerves and regret in a client's breathing, how to keep a shop clean enough for inspectors and kind enough for people who came in carrying stories they did not know how to say aloud. She had silver hair shaved close on one side, black-framed glasses, and a rose tattooed on her throat. She was not sentimental, which was one reason Liam had asked her to do it. I'm fine, he said. That's not what I asked. He looked away from his wrist. The raven design was his own, dark wings spreading from the inside of his wrist toward his forearm, feathers layered over the old cross until only the faintest shape remained beneath the stencil. A good design. Clean. Strong. No cheap symbolism. No obvious tragedy. No tiny wooden cross with uneven arms done by a 20-year-old apprentice in a church basement fundraiser, because his mother had said, if you are going to mark yourself with hope. I'm good, he said. Mara paused the machine. The silence felt louder. On the wall behind her, flash sheets showed daggers, saints, roses, wolves, skulls, moths, script, moons, flames, and a sacred heart with gold rays that Liam had painted years ago during a week when he could still draw religious images without feeling mocked by them. A record player near the front desk played Old Soul low enough to sit beneath conversation. In the next station, Jules was tattooing a mountain range on a tourist from Boise who kept asking whether the shading would hurt more than the outline. The shop cat, an orange rescue named Bishop, slept illegally on a clean towel stack until Mara snapped her fingers and he pretended not to hear. Liam flexed his fingers. The old cross on his wrist had been small, no bigger than a postage stamp, simple black lines. His mother, Ruth Parker, had loved it with an intensity that embarrassed him. She called it his little reminder. When he came home late smelling of cigarettes and cheap beer at 19, she would touch the tattoo gently and say, "You can run far, honey, but there's a place in you that still knows the way back." It hated that she said things like that, hated how her faith made even ordinary moments feel like invitations he did not want. He was 35 now, too old to be haunted by a mother's hand on his wrist, and yet as Mara dipped her needle and the machine began again, he felt the pressure of Ruth's lips on that cross the day she was diagnosed, the day she whispered, "Jesus sees you, even when you won't look at him." He had not looked in a long time. The cover-up had been his idea, scheduled twice and canceled twice. He told everyone it was an artistic decision, that the old tattoo was badly done, that he wanted a full sleeve eventually, and the cross did not fit the composition. All true enough to pass. The truth underneath was uglier. He was tired of seeing it when he reached for whiskey, when he counted cash, when he drew demons for clients who wanted something fierce over scars, when he ignored calls from his sister Grace, when he woke at noon in his apartment above a laundromat with a hangover and the feeling that life had become a room without windows. He was tired of the cross making claims he had not agreed to keep. Ruth had died 4 years earlier in Spokane after 18 months of ovarian cancer, 3 surgeries, 2 rounds of chemo, and more prayer circles than Liam could stand. He had flown home for the funeral, sat in the front pew beside Grace, listened to a pastor say Ruth had gone to be with the Lord, and felt rage move through him like fire under ice. His mother had fed people from church freezers, read the Gospels every morning, forgave his father after the divorce, wrote birthday cards to inmates through a prison ministry, and still died with tubes in her arms and pain in her bones. If that was what being loved by God looked like, Liam wanted no part of it. After the funeral, Grace asked him to stay a few days. He left the next morning. Since then their relationship had become a series of missed calls, cautious texts, and holiday messages with too many exclamation points. Grace remained in Spokane, married to a kind man named Aaron, raising 2 children, attending Ruth's old church, preserving traditions Liam had fled. She sent pictures of her kids holding pumpkins, singing in Christmas programs, losing teeth. Liam sent tattoo shop postcards and money for birthdays. Money was easier than tenderness. It could travel without asking him to soften. Mara wiped ink from his wrist. More of the cross disappeared. You sure you want this much black? She asked. You approve the design. I approve the design. I'm asking about the funeral happening on your face. He gave her a flat look. I thought artists weren't supposed to psychoanalyze each other. Tattooing is half art, half therapy, half infection control. That's 3 halves. I contain multitudes. He almost smiled. The front bell rang. Cold air entered with rain. Liam glanced toward the door. A young woman stood on the mat, shaking water from a denim jacket. She looked maybe 22, with short brown hair tucked behind her ears, pale skin blotched from either weather or crying, and a canvas tote clutched to her chest. She scanned the shop with the anxious hope of someone who had rehearsed bravery on the sidewalk and nearly lost it at the door. Jules called. Hey, welcome in. You got an appointment? The young woman looked at him, then at Mara, then at Liam, who was not in work mode but still had the shop's name stitched on his black apron hanging from the hook behind him. I emailed, she said, about a memorial tattoo. Someone said Liam might be the right artist. Liam looked back down at his wrist. I'm not taking walk-ins today. She emailed 3 times, Mara said. He turned. You read my email now? You forward all booking inquiries to the shop account because you hate admin. Mara switched off the machine and peeled off her gloves. Her name is Emma Whitaker. Brother died last month. She asked for custom work, not Pinterest feathers turning into birds nonsense. I told her to come by at 4. It's 3:30. I was early, Emma said quickly. I can wait. I'm sorry. The apology was too immediate, too practiced. Liam recognized it from clients who had spent their lives feeling in the way. Mara looked at him. We can wrap you and finish later. No, Liam said. Finish it. Emma stepped backward. Really, I can come back. Liam did not want to talk to grief while a cross was being buried under ink. He did not want a memorial tattoo, a young woman's trembling voice, a dead brother, or whatever faith-soaked imagery Mara had decided he was suited for because he once painted saints. He wanted the raven finished. He wanted the old prayer gone. Give me 10 minutes, he said, because refusing would make him look cruel, and looking cruel in front of Mara always irritated him. Emma sat near the front window, tote on her lap, hands folded tight. Rain blurred the city behind her. A cyclist cursed outside. Bishop the cat jumped onto the chair beside her, considered her grief, and placed one paw on her tote. Emma looked surprised, then touched his head gently. Something in the gesture made Liam look away. Mara resumed tattooing. The pain sharpened. He welcomed it. Physical pain had honesty to it. Needle enters skin. Skin burns. Ink stays. Emotional pain, by contrast, lied, disappeared, returned, changed shape, asked theological questions at inconvenient hours, and wore your mother's perfume in dreams. When Mara finished the first pass, she cleaned the area and held up a mirror. The raven wing covered the cross almost entirely. Only Liam, who knew where to look, could see the faint geometry beneath. The vertical line hidden under a feather shaft, the short crossbar buried under shadow. Solid, Mara said. We'll need a second session for depth. Liam stared. His wrist no longer looked like his mother's last argument. It should have felt like relief. Instead, he felt hollow, as if he had locked a door and realized he was on the wrong side. Wrap it, he said. Mara bandaged his wrist with practiced care. Aftercare. Don't soak it. Don't pick at it. Don't drink too much tonight. I know aftercare. I know you know. I also know you treat your own body like a rented motel room. He gave her a look. She taped the bandage. You're welcome. Liam washed up, changed gloves, and brought Emma to his station. She moved carefully, as if the room were full of glass. Up close, she looked younger. Her eyes were brown and tired, with dark crescents beneath them. She set her tote on the chair and pulled out a worn envelope, a folded photograph, and a small notebook. My brother's name was Noah, she said. Was. The word entered the space with quiet violence. Liam sat on his stool and picked up a pencil. Tell me what you're thinking. She unfolded the photograph. A young man smiled from a summer porch, maybe 25, wearing a flannel shirt open over a band tee, hair messy, one arm around Emma's shoulders. He had the thinness of someone who had fought his own body and lost some rounds. But his smile was bright, crooked, alive. He died from an overdose, Emma said. She looked straight at Liam when she said it, as if daring him to flinch. Fentanyl. He thought it was something else. Or maybe he didn't care. I don't know anymore. I'm sorry, Liam said. The words were professional, gentle, and true in the limited way words from strangers can be true. Emma nodded, not comforted but acknowledging the attempt. I want something for him. Not a skull, or a needle, or angel wings. He would hate angel wings. He said most angel tattoos look like pigeons with commitment issues. Despite himself, Liam huffed a laugh. Emma smiled briefly, then lost it. He was funny, and exhausting, and kind. And he stole from me. He taught me guitar. And he missed my graduation. And when he was sober, he cried at dog food commercials. I don't know how to fit all of that into a tattoo. You don't have to fit a whole person, Liam said. You choose a doorway. A doorway. An image that lets you remember without pretending it explains everything. Emma looked down at her notebook. He had a verse. Not tattooed. Written on a sticky note in his room. Our mom found it after. It was from Isaiah, I think. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. He had underlined, with you 3 times. Her voice shook. He didn't make it through the waters. Liam's pencil stopped. His mother had loved that verse. She had written it on an index card and taped it to the bathroom mirror during chemo. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Not if. When. He had once argued with her about it while she sat on the edge of the tub too weak to stand. With you. He had said, sharper than he meant. What good is with you if he doesn't stop it? Ruth had looked at him with tired eyes and said, maybe one day being with will matter to you more than being spared. He had hated that answer. He still did. Or wanted to. Emma watched him. Is that too religious? The shop website had some of your old work. The Sacred Heart. The Mary piece. The Burning Bush. I thought maybe you wouldn't make it cheesy. I don't do much religious work anymore. Oh. She began gathering the papers. I'm sorry. Mara said. I said not much. Not never. She stilled. Liam leaned back. What did Noah believe? Emma's face twisted. That's complicated. Most real things are. He believed when he was little. We grew up going to this church in Gresham. He played drums in youth worship, badly but enthusiastically. Then our dad left, and Noah got angry. Later pills. Rehab. Relapse. Rehab again. He would say he didn't believe, then ask Mom to pray when he was scared. He wore a little wooden cross on a cord sometimes. He lost it every few months. Mom kept buying replacements. Emma's eyes filled. After he died, I found one in his jacket pocket. Broken. Liam felt the bandage on his wrist tighten, though it had not moved. I don't want a neat Christian tattoo, Emma said. I don't want something that says everything was fine because Jesus. It wasn't fine. It was awful. But I also don't want death to get the only image. I want. She pressed her lips together. I want something that says maybe love was still there, even in the dark. Is that stupid? No, Liam said, too quickly. Mara glanced over from her station. Liam ignored her. Emma opened the envelope and pulled out a small broken wooden cross. One arm had snapped near the center and been taped once, then broken again. The cord was frayed. This was his, she said. Liam did not touch it. He looked at it lying in her palm, small and poor and stubborn. A cross that had traveled through pockets, rehab centers, bad nights, and a young man's final jacket. Not clean. Not decorative. Not triumphant. Still there. His wrist throbbed under the bandage. I can sketch something, he said. Emma exhaled as if she had been holding her breath since entering. Not today for the tattoo, he added. Custom takes time. I'll draw. You come back, we talk. No deposit until you like the direction. I can pay a deposit. We'll talk later. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Are you being nice because I'm crying? I'm being professional because you're trusting me with your brother. That seemed to steady her. After Emma left, leaving copies of the photograph, the verse, and a rough note of ideas, Mara came to Liam's station and leaned against the counter. Well, she said. Don't. I haven't said anything. You're thinking loudly. I'm thinking your wrist is bleeding through the bandage because you keep clenching your fist. He looked down. A small bloom of red marked the edge of the wrap. Mara softened. You okay? No. The honesty surprised them both. She nodded slowly. You want me to cancel your evening? No. I need to draw. Good drawing or avoiding life drawing. Those are often the same. She left him alone. That night, after the shop closed, Liam sat at his drafting table in the back room with Emma's materials spread before him. Rain continued against the skylight. Portland outside settled into its wet neon mood. Food carts closing, bar lights glowing, headlights sliding over pavement, the smell of coffee and weed and cedar drifting through cracks in the old building. Saint and Needle occupied what had once been a tailor shop. The back room held shelves of inks, stencil paper, flash archives, broken frames, a space heater with unreliable moods, and a small speaker playing instrumental music no one admitted to choosing. Liam drew the broken cross first, exact, too literal. He tore the page away. He drew water around it, waves swallowing the wood. Too bleak. He drew a hand reaching through dark water toward light. Too dramatic. He drew a cross made of negative space inside shadow, light breaking around it. Closer. He stopped. A cross of light. Not a clean wooden symbol imposed on grief, but the absence darkness could not fill. A shape made because shadow had to bend around it. His phone buzzed. Grace. He let it ring. She had called twice that week. He knew why. Their mother's birthday was Sunday. Grace always called near Ruth's birthday, hoping for a conversation long enough to pretend they were not becoming strangers. He watched the screen until it went dark. Then a text came. I know you may not answer. Mom's birthday dinner Sunday. We're making her chicken soup and lemon cake. Kids asked about Uncle Liam. No pressure. Just wanted you invited. Love you. No pressure. Just wanted you invited. Grace had inherited Ruth's gift for leaving doors open in ways that made closed hearts feel rude. Liam set the phone face down and returned to the sketch. He worked until after midnight, layering darkness around light, adding small lines like rain, then a thread of gold where the broken cross might be held together not by repair, but by radiance. At the bottom he penciled the words with you in barely visible script, not bold enough to preach, present enough to find. He stared at it for a long time. Then he whispered, what good is with you if he still died? The room did not answer. The heater clicked. Rain tapped the glass. The shop cat scratched at the door. Liam opened the back door for Bishop, who entered with royal irritation and jumped onto the drafting table, narrowly missing the sketch. Hey. Liam lifted him away. Bishop purred as if he had done a holy thing. Liam sat back. He thought of his mother at the kitchen table in Spokane, wearing a knit cap after her hair fell out, coloring with Grace's daughter while chemo made her hands shake. He thought of Ruth touching his wrist and saying, Jesus sees you. He thought of himself pulling away. He thought of the cross now hidden beneath raven feathers. He thought of Emma trying to hold a brother honestly. Funny, exhausting, kind, addicted, loved, lost. Not reducing him to his worst night. Not pretending the worst night did not happen. He was angry at God, yes. But anger had not protected him from grief. It had only made him lonelier inside it. The next morning, Liam woke late in his apartment above the laundromat with the sketch beside his bed and rain making a soft roar through the open window. His apartment was not as bad as he feared and worse than he admitted. Good art on the walls, dishes in the sink, books stacked dangerously, laundry in piles that smelled vaguely of detergent from downstairs. A plant Mara had given him somehow still alive despite neglect. On the dresser stood a shoebox he had not opened in months. Ruth's letters were inside. Grace had given them to him after the funeral. Cards his mother wrote during illness, one for each birthday she might miss, because Ruth had been practical even about dying and impossibly cruel in her tenderness. He opened the box. The top envelope said, for when you cover up the cross, if you ever do. His breath stopped. For a moment he simply stared. Then anger surged so fast he nearly shoved the box off the dresser. Of course she had known. Of course Ruth Parker, who saw through him when he was drunk at 16 and when he lied at 28 and when he said he was fine at her hospital bed, had anticipated even this private rebellion. He opened the envelope with shaking hands. My dear Liam, if you are reading this because you changed the tattoo, take a breath before you start arguing with a dead woman. I am not angry. Your skin is yours. Jesus does not live on your wrist as if ink could hold him hostage. He laughed once, unwillingly, painfully. I loved that little cross because I knew what it meant when you got it. You were young and full of storms, but you still wanted hope marked somewhere. If you covered it, maybe you needed a different picture for the storm you are in now. That is all right. God has followed people through deserts, fish bellies, prisons, pig pens, gardens, and locked rooms. He can find his way through a tattoo cover-up. Do not mistake my faith for denial. I know suffering is real. By the time you read this, I may have suffered more than either of us wanted. I have asked God why. I have cried until prayer had no words left. But I have also found that Jesus is not embarrassed by wounds. He kept his after resurrection. Maybe that means love does not erase pain to prove it wins. Maybe love enters pain and makes it unable to be the final word. If you cannot pray, draw honestly. If you cannot believe, do not mock what others are holding on to in the dark. If you cannot come home yet, call your sister. If you cannot look at the cross, look for light around the edges. I love you beyond your anger. Mom. Liam sat on the floor because his legs could not be trusted. The letter trembled in his hands. He read the line again. If you cannot believe, do not mock what others are holding on to in the dark. That afternoon, Emma returned for the consultation. The shop was busy, warm with machine buzz and conversation. Someone had brought donuts. Jules argued with a client about why finger tattoos fade. Mara worked on a sleeve of peonies and snakes. Liam had slept 3 hours and looked, in Mara's words, like a raccoon who received spiritual news. He ignored her. Emma sat at his station. I brought coffee, she said, placing 1 cup near him. I didn't know what you drink. Black is fine. It's not black. It has oat milk. Portland got me. Acceptable. She smiled nervously. He placed the sketch between them. For a few seconds, she did not speak. Her eyes moved over the dark water, the broken cross shape suggested by light, the thin gold thread, the small words with you hidden near the lower edge. Oh, she whispered. It can be adjusted, Liam said quickly. Less religious, more abstract. The cross could be even more implied. The script could go. The gold would be done with ochre tones, not metallic ink, because metallic ink is mostly nonsense in marketing. Placement matters. Forearm or upper arm would hold detail better. If you want smaller. Emma touched the edge of the paper. Stop. He stopped. She covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not look devastated. She looked recognized. It's him, she said. Not his face, but it's what loving him felt like trying to see light underwater. Liam looked down at his hands. And the cross isn't perfect, she said. It's broken, but not gone. No. Is that what you meant? Yes. She wiped her cheeks. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you believe this? The light part? The shop noise seemed to recede. Liam could have given a clever answer. He had many. He could say he believed in composition, contrast, the psychology of memorial symbols, the need for clients to locate hope visually. He could say belief was irrelevant to craft. He could say tattoos are mirrors, not sermons. All true. All evasions. My mother did, he said. Emma waited. I'm trying not to mock it, he added. She nodded slowly, as if that was more meaningful than certainty. Noah used to say he believed other people's faith more than his own. Like he could stand under their umbrella but couldn't hold one. Liam thought of Ruth's letters, Grace's invitations, Mara's blunt kindness. Maybe sometimes that counts. They scheduled the tattoo for Saturday. The days before the appointment unsettled him. Liam found himself noticing crosses everywhere. On the neck of a barista handing him coffee, chalked beside a sidewalk memorial, hanging from the rearview mirror of a rideshare, shining faintly atop a church roof through Portland rain. He resented each one, then wondered whether resentment was just attention wearing armor. He did not suddenly become holy. He still cursed at traffic. He still drank too much Thursday night, though less than he would have the week before. He still ignored Grace's second call. He still looked at the raven on his wrist and felt both relief and grief. But he also took out his mother's letter each morning and read one line. If you cannot pray, draw honestly. So he drew. He refined Emma's design with unusual care. He studied how light bends through water, how broken wood splinters, how to use skin tone as part of radiance rather than covering everything with ink. He redrew the gold thread 7 times. He made the hidden words subtle enough that Emma could choose when to reveal them. He printed stencils in 3 sizes. Mara watched him without comment until Friday night. You're treating this like a cathedral ceiling, she said. It matters. Most of them matter. I know. She leaned against the counter. You called your sister yet? He glared. Why would you ask that? Because you've looked at your phone like it owes you money and forgiveness. I hate this shop. No, you love this shop because we provide emotional surveillance with flexible hours. He put away his pencils. She invited me to Mom's birthday dinner. And I'm not driving to Spokane for soup and cake and children asking why I never visit. Sounds terrible, being loved with food. You don't know my family. I know grief. Same country, different weather. Liam rubbed his face. If I call, she'll be nice. Mara looked puzzled. And that's worse. Oh. She nodded. You prefer punishment because it confirms the story that you ruined too much. He stared at her. She shrugged. Therapy. Highly recommend. Also annoying. I can't just call after years of being half a ghost. No. You can call as a half ghost. Let her decide whether to answer. He said nothing. Saturday came bright after rain. Rare winter sunlight, making the shop windows glow. Emma arrived with her mother, Carol, a tired woman with red hair and a canvas bag full of snacks, water, and enough nervous energy to power the neon sign. Carol hugged Liam without warning. Thank you for doing this, she said. He stiffened, then awkwardly patted her back. We haven't done it yet. I know. I saw the drawing. Emma had chosen her upper arm. The tattoo would take hours. Liam prepared the station slowly. Barrier film, ink caps, needles, paper towels, stencil solution, gloves. Ritual mattered. Cleanliness mattered. Trust deserved order. As he placed the stencil on Emma's skin, Carol stood nearby holding Noah's broken cross. She whispered something under her breath. Emma looked at her. Mom, I'm not making a scene. You're praying. I pray quietly. It's not illegal. Liam smoothed the stencil. Prayer is allowed in the chair as long as no one moves. Carol gave a small laugh. Fair. They began. Emma breathed through the first lines. Liam worked with concentration that narrowed the room to ink and skin, line and pressure. The cross emerged not as an object, but as absence inside shadow. He shaded water around it, deep blues and charcoal blacks, leaving clean skin for light. Emma's mother watched silently at first. Then, after an hour, she began telling stories. Noah once stole communion bread before service, Carol said. Mom, Emma groaned. He did. He was 7, hid under the pew eating it like crackers. Pastor James found him and said, Son, Jesus feeds the hungry, but usually we wait until the service. Emma laughed, then cried, then laughed again. Liam listened. Story by story, Noah became less a tragedy and more a person. The boy who rescued worms from sidewalks after rain, the teenager who played drums too loudly, the addict who lied, the brother who apologized with gas station flowers, the son who sang hymns under his breath when detoxing because childhood songs were the last ones to leave him. Carol did not sanitize him. Emma did not let death flatten him. Between them, grief became a room where love and anger sat at the same table. Near the third hour, Carol asked, Do you have family, Liam? He kept his eyes on the shading. A sister? Close. No. Alive. Yes. Carol was quiet. Call her. The needle paused for half a second. Emma said, Mom, you can't tell the tattoo artist what to do. I'm a grieving mother. We get certain privileges. Liam resumed. She's not wrong. Carol's voice softened. After Noah died, I found messages from people he meant to call. His sponsor. Emma. Me. A friend from rehab. So many almosts. I know calls don't fix everything, but silence grows teeth. Liam thought of Grace's text. Kids asked about Uncle Liam. No pressure. Just wanted you invited. He finished the gold thread near the broken cross. It glowed against the dark water. When the tattoo was done, Emma stood before the mirror. Her mother covered her mouth. The design curved over Emma's upper arm. The cross of light visible only because darkness surrounded it. The words with you tucked near the lower edge like a secret she could carry. Emma touched the air above it, not the skin. Would have said it was too pretty, she whispered. Probably, Carol said. Then he would have shown everyone. Definitely. Emma turned to Liam. Thank you for not making it easy. He understood. Thank you for trusting me. Carol placed Noah's broken wooden cross in Emma's hand. Then she looked at Liam. Your mother raised a compassionate man. The words hit him so unexpectedly, he nearly stepped back. You don't know that, he said. I know what I saw today. He wanted to argue. Instead, he nodded once. After they left, the shop felt too quiet even though machines still buzzed. Liam removed his gloves, cleaned the station, and went to the back room. His wrist ached under the healing raven. He unwrapped it carefully to wash. The cover-up looked angry, red at the edges. The cross was gone unless he knew where to look. But he did know. He took out his phone before he could plan an escape. Grace answered on the fourth ring. Liam. Her voice was cautious, hopeful, and familiar enough to break him. Hey, he said. A small silence. Hey, I got your text. I hoped you did. I always get them. I never know. I know. He sat on the floor beside the supply shelves because standing seemed ambitious. I'm sorry. Grace inhaled sharply. In the background, a child shouted something about frosting. Life, continuing without his permission. For what? She asked softly. For being half a ghost. She made a sound between a laugh and a sob. That is accurate. I don't know how to do this. Call. You're doing it. No. Family. Mom. God. Any of it. Grace was quiet. Then she said, you don't have to do all of it on one phone call. I covered the cross. Another silence. This one deeper. Okay, she said. That's all. What do you want me to say? I don't know. That I'm awful. That Mom would be sad. That I've erased something. Did you? He looked at his wrist. The raven wing, the hidden geometry. I tried. Grace's voice trembled. Liam, Mom never thought the tattoo saved you. She loved it because you got it when you were still willing to admit you wanted God near. If you covered it because looking at it hurt, I think she'd understand. She understood pain better than either of us wanted. He pressed his palm against his eyes. I miss her. I know. I do too. I'm angry. I know. At God. Me too sometimes, Grace said, surprising him. You? Yes, me. I just bring him my anger with casseroles and hymns, which makes it look more acceptable. He laughed through tears. That's very you. It is. Aaron says my spiritual gift is aggressive hospitality. A child yelled. Mom, the cake is leaning. Grace sighed. Her lemon cake recipe is defeating us. I'd always leaned. You remember? Of course. Do you want to come? She asked. The hope in her voice was carefully held, like a candle in wind. Not for a big thing. Just soup. Cake wreckage. Kids asking awkward questions. You can leave when you need. Portland to Spokane was a 6-hour drive if weather behaved. He had appointments Monday. He had excuses ready. He looked at the sketch of Emma's tattoo pinned above his desk, the cross of light made visible by darkness. He thought of Carol saying silence grows teeth. He thought of Ruth's letter. If you cannot come home yet, call your sister. He had called. Maybe that was enough for one day. Maybe not. I can leave tonight, he said, before fear edited him. Grace began crying. Okay, don't make it weird. It's already weird. We're Parkers. He smiled. I'll text when I'm on the road. Liam. Yeah, I'm really glad you called. He closed his eyes. Me too. The drive to Spokane took 7 hours because rain turned to snow near the pass, and because Liam stopped twice to sit in his car in panic. He listened to no music for the first hour, then old songs his mother loved, then turned them off when It Is Well With My Soul began and his throat closed. The Columbia River moved dark beside the highway. Trucks hissed past. Pines gathered snow. The farther east he drove, the more his life in Portland felt both real and temporary, like a room he had decorated inside a larger house he had refused to enter. Grace opened the door before he knocked. She was older than the last time he had really looked, her hair shorter, lines at her eyes, Ruth's mouth when she smiled. For a moment, they simply stood there in the cold porch light. Then she hugged him. He did not know where to put his hands. Then he did, and the grief of 4 years moved through both of them. Her children, Lily and Matthew, peeked from the hallway. Aaron stood in the kitchen holding a frosting spatula like a white flag. Uncle Liam. Lily asked. That's me. You have tattoos. A few. Do they wash off? Not easily. Matthew, younger, pointed at the bandage on his wrist. Did you get hurt? Liam looked at Grace. She smiled gently. Kind of, he said. But it's healing. Dinner was awkward, warm, and ordinary. Chicken soup. Bread. Lemon cake that leaned severely to the left. Lily asked whether tattooing hurt. Matthew asked if Liam had ever tattooed a dragon on someone's butt. Aaron choked on water. Grace said, Matthew James. Liam laughed harder than he had in months. After the kids went to bed, Grace brought out a box of Ruth's things. Not to ambush him, she promised, but because Ruth had left one more envelope. This one said, for Liam and Grace, when they are in the same room and not pretending they are fine. Liam groaned. She's insufferable from beyond. Grace wiped her eyes. Yes. They opened it together. My beloved children. If you are reading this together, then there is already grace in the room. Do not waste it by performing strength. You both learn to protect others from your pain. Liam runs. Grace manages. I say this with love, and because I am your mother and therefore licensed to meddle. The letter went on, speaking to each of them with piercing tenderness. To Grace, Ruth wrote, let your brother be unfinished. Do not turn him into a project because missing him scares you. To Liam, she wrote, let your sister love you without calling it pressure. She is not asking you to be who you were. She is asking to know who you are now. Then, near the end, I do not need either of you to defend God for me. I am not dying because I lacked faith. I am dying because bodies are fragile and this world is not yet fully healed. But I have trusted Jesus with my living, and I trust him with my dying. If anger is what you have, bring anger. If tears are what you have, bring tears. If all you can bring is silence, sit together in it. Christ has entered worse rooms and called them not hopeless. Grace read the last lines aloud because Liam could not. When you think of me, make soup, tell the truth, forgive slowly, and look for light around the edges. I love Mom. They sat at the kitchen table long after midnight. Snow tapped the windows. Grace told him about Ruth's final weeks, not the sanitized version, but the real one. Fear, morphine, hymns, irritability, laughter. The day Ruth threw a slipper at a sympathy card with bad theology. The night she asked if Liam had called and Grace lied, saying he had texted. Liam confessed he had been drunk the night Ruth died and missed Grace's call because his phone was under a couch cushion in a house where he did not remember falling asleep. Grace cried, but not with surprise. I was so angry, she said. I needed you. I know. You left me to do all of it. I know. I don't want to punish you forever. I don't want you to pretend it didn't happen. Good, she said. Because I can't. He nodded. I'm sorry. She reached across the table. He took her hand. Thank you, she whispered. That's a beginning. On Sunday morning, Grace asked if he wanted to come to church for Ruth's birthday remembrance. He almost said no. Then Lily asked if he would sit by her because she liked his raven tattoo. So he went. The church smelled like coffee, hymnals, winter coats, and the lemon furniture polish Ruth used to complain about. People recognized him with the cautious joy of communities that remember prodigals even when prodigals resent being remembered. He survived hugs, handshakes, your mother loved you so much, and one elderly man who said, still drawing on people? As if tattooing were a phase like skateboarding. During the service, the pastor read from Isaiah, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Liam stared at the bulletin until the words blurred. Grace glanced at him but did not touch him. He was grateful. He was also grateful she was there. They sang a hymn Ruth loved. Liam did not sing at first. Then Matthew leaned against his side, small and warm, humming the wrong tune. Liam opened his mouth. His voice came out rough, uncertain. No lightning struck. No anger vanished. But the song did not reject him. After church, a woman named Denise approached him. Her son had died from addiction 2 years earlier. She had seen a photo Emma posted of Noah's tattoo and recognized Liam's style from Grace's proud sharing. It was beautiful, she said. Not pretty. Beautiful. There's a difference. Thank you. I'm starting a grief group at the community center, she said. For families who love people through addiction. We want art involved. Not therapy exactly. Just making things with our hands when words fail. Grace said you might help sometime. Liam shot his sister a look. Grace mouthed, sorry, not sorry. I live in Portland, he said. Art travels, Denise replied. He thought of Ruth's line. If you cannot believe, do not mock what others are holding on to in the dark. Maybe he could do that much. Help people hold something. He can design some templates, he said. Maybe come once a month. Denise smiled. That would be a gift. A gift. The word unsettled him. He had treated his art as trade, armor, identity, income, rebellion, escape. Gifts sounded dangerous. Gifts implied a giver. Back in Portland, Liam did not become suddenly devout. He did not start attending church every Sunday or stop cursing or pour all his whiskey down the sink in a cinematic act of renewal. He did, however, put Ruth's letters in a drawer near his bed instead of the shoebox. He answered Grace's calls more often than not. He drove to Spokane once a month for the grief art group, where mothers, brothers, partners, and friends painted, carved, stitched, drew, cried, and sometimes laughed. He designed memorial pieces that made room for complexity. Broken halos, lanterns in rain, Empty chairs with sunlight on them. Roots under winter soil. Crosses not as decoration, but as wounds through which light came. He also began leaving the shop during lunch to sit sometimes in a small old church on Southeast Stark, not for mass or service, just quiet. The first time, he stood in the back for 4 minutes, then left. The second time, he sat. The third, he whispered, "I'm still mad," and felt ridiculous. The fourth, he said, "I miss her." The fifth, nothing at all. He learned that prayer, at least for him, was not a performance of certainty, but the act of showing up without a costume. His raven tattoo healed. Dark, beautiful, fierce. Under certain light. If he turned his wrist and knew what lay beneath, the old cross seemed to rise faintly through the feather shadows. Mara noticed one afternoon while they cleaned stations. Funny, she said. What? You covered it, but it still shaped the design. Liam looked at his wrist. Yeah, almost like old prayers are stubborn. He rolled his eyes. Don't get theological. I'm a tattoo artist. We invented theology with needles and regret. Emma returned 3 months later for a touch-up. The tattoo had healed beautifully. The light held. The hidden words remained readable only up close. She looked stronger, not healed exactly, but less alone inside her grief. My mom wants one now, she said. A memorial? Sort of. She wants a tiny loaf of bread with a cross on it, because Noah once stole communion bread. She says grief should include jokes. Your mom is right. Emma watched him adjust ink. Did you call your sister? He looked up. Yes. She smiled. Good. Bossy clients are extra. Compassionate artists get reviewed. He laughed. As he worked on the touch-up, Emma said, Do you believe the light part any more now? He considered lying, then didn't. Some days. That's more than before. Yes. Good. He wiped the tattoo gently. Do you? Emma looked at the cross on her arm. Some days I believe because I need Noah held somewhere I can't reach. Some days I'm just angry. My pastor says Jesus can hold both arms of the same person, the one swinging and the one reaching. Liam paused. That's not bad. I know. I wrote it down. That night, after closing, Liam stayed at the shop to paint a new flash sheet. Not the usual saints or symbols clients chose for style alone. He painted a series called Light Through. A cracked window with dawn behind it. A candle in a storm jar. A cross formed by negative space in black water. A sparrow perched on barbed wire. A hand opening around a small flame. At the bottom, he painted a small raven wing with a hidden cross in the feathers. He did not label it. Mara came in late to get her jacket and stood behind him. That one's yours, she said. Yes. You keeping it? I think so. She rested a hand briefly on his shoulder. Good. On Ruth's next birthday, Liam drove to Spokane without being asked. Grace cried when he arrived, then told him if he kept making her cry she would put him in charge of frosting. They made soup. The lemon cake still leaned. Lily showed him a drawing of a cross with wings, and Matthew asked if Jesus had tattoos when he came back from the dead, because scars were kind of like tattoos. Grace looked horrified. Liam said, That is a surprisingly deep question, and Aaron nearly dropped a plate. After dinner, Liam went outside alone. Snow fell softly in the yard. The sky over Spokane was low and purple. He pulled back his sleeve and looked at the raven on his wrist. He touched the place where the cross had been, where it still was in some hidden way, not erased but transformed into part of a larger darkness and a stranger light. Mom, he whispered, I'm trying. Then, after a long silence, he spoke the hardest words because they were not addressed to memory. Lord Jesus, I don't know how to come back. I don't know what I believe all the way. I don't know why she died. I'm still angry. But I'm here. The prayer ended there. No amen at first. He stood in the cold, listening to the distant sounds of his sister's family inside. Dishes, laughter, a child protesting bedtime, life continuing around grief. He thought of Emma's brother, of Noah's broken cross, of Carol's stories, of Denise's grief group, of Mara's stubborn kindness, of Ruth's letters, of the cross covered and not gone. Finally he whispered, Amen. It did not fix him. He did not want a faith that required pretending he was fixed. What happened was smaller and perhaps truer. The word made a little room in him. Enough room to breathe. Enough room to go back inside. Enough room to answer when Grace called from the kitchen. Liam, can you help with the dishes? Yeah, he said, wiping his face before stepping into the warm light. I'm coming. Years later, people would ask about the flash sheet framed near his station, the one with the cross of light in dark water, and the raven wing beneath it. Some wanted tattoos from it because they liked the style. Some because they carried grief. Some because they had lost brothers, mothers, faith, sobriety, marriages, homes, or younger selves. Liam learned to ask better questions. What are you trying to remember? What are you trying not to lie about? Where do you want the light to enter? He did not preach. He listened. Sometimes he told them, if they asked, that the first cross he ever tattooed on himself had been covered but not erased. Sometimes he said his mother taught him that Jesus was not embarrassed by wounds. Sometimes he simply drew. On quiet afternoons, when rain silvered the windows of Saint and Needle and the city moved past in coffee steam and wet tires, Liam would catch sight of his wrist as he cleaned a machine or sharpened a pencil. The raven remained dark. The old cross remained hidden. But he no longer saw the cover-up as an erasure. It had become, in a way he would never have chosen, a confession. That anger could cover prayer for a season without killing it. That grief could bury faith without making resurrection impossible. That light did not always arrive by removing darkness, but sometimes by teaching the darkness where to open. And slowly, without pretending the road was simple, Liam Parker returned to prayer the way an artist returns to a difficult drawing. Uncertain, frustrated, attentive, willing to begin again after every bad line. He prayed in fragments. In the car before grief group. In the shop before memorial tattoos. In churches where he still sat near the back. In Grace's kitchen over leaning cake. In the ache of his wrist when weather changed. He prayed not because every question had been answered, but because love had kept speaking through the questions in his mother's voice, his sister's patience, a young client's trust, a broken wooden cross, and the wounded hands of Christ. He had tried to erase his last prayer. Instead, Grace had turned it into another design. And somewhere under the ink, beneath the raven's wing, the little cross remained, no longer a demand he had to flee, but a quiet mark of the one who had never stopped looking for light around the edges.